All right. Saying that we're live. Good stuff. Let me close out a couple things so as not to use too much bandwidth here. I'd like to thank you all for showing up. You know, you got to take a little time to get things set up. As always, got to pull up the video on my phone so I can get into the chat, say what's up to everybody, because I like to interact. It's kind of my thing, you know. All right. Turn volume down on that. Okay. Ollie, what's up, man? Jamie Brown's in the house. JC AAA. Tammy Tony, how you doing? Let me see. I see Poncheezy. What's up, man? See Oddity, Flat Earth Mind Peoples. Who's that? Curious Catracho. We're gonna talk about that. I don't want to mess up your name. Flat Out Faith, what's up? Miss Griffin's in the house. What's going on? All right. Good. Not a whole lot going on. Ollie Rendon, what's up? Sly Steve, I see Frankie B's in the house. What's up? Big Gum 31, what up? Nick, how you doing? Ace Ventura. Alrighty then. Amanda FE, Midi HC, what's going on? Jared, what's going on? Todd, what's up? Focus mode. I like it. Mile High Scribs, Flasso, Platus. All right, back for more. What's happening? All right, folks. So, did everybody catch that video that I put up this morning about the rectangular shaped iceberg that NASA found? Did everybody see that one? You know, I just saw that and I had to say something about it. I wanted to save it for the wrap up on Friday, but nah, had to go ahead and capitalize on that one, you know, because I'm like, man, hold up. What are you talking about? What do you mean? There's some rectangular shaped iceberg in Antarctica? You know, as much as they spend time in Antarctica, and I'm like, why is NASA spending so much time in Antarctica anyway? I mean, shouldn't they be like out in space? I don't get that. You know, next thing you know, they'll be sending us pictures of strange things happening in a desert. Like, NASA's supposed to be giving us pictures of space. Why are they in Antarctica? That's, you know, another red flag. But these are things that folks don't even consider. Now, my thing, what I'd said on that video, now it was early morning. I just finished working out. So I didn't even consider that this is NASA, the premier space exploration agency, who offers us nothing but CGI in most instances. So I didn't even consider that whole you know, that iceberg that could have been CGI, it could have been photoshopped. And you know, I didn't even think about that. But I just sent Carlos the link, and he should be joining me in a little bit. Carlos, that's my man. That's my dude. Real good guy. Got to know him pretty well last year. Carlos was kind of like my bodyguard at the conference last year in North Carolina. He was my roommate. He was my bodyguard. We spent a lot of time together. We were like connected at the hip most of the time, you know, in the little secret room where the speakers would show up and all that. He was, you know, by my side the whole time, and I appreciated him because, you know, I like to interact with people. Y'all know that. So what happens is at a situation like a conference, oddly, there was a lot of people who wanted to talk to me. This was a new thing for me. And I'll just sit there and I'll be chatting with somebody for, you know, however long. And Carlos was kind of the one who would kind of pull me away, like, hey, D, we gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody like corner me and we'll just be talking. So I'll be talking to somebody for, you know, a few minutes, and then as soon as I finish talking to them, like 20 seconds later, I take a few steps down the hall, and then somebody else wants to talk. And so, you know, I'll just end up chatting with people until I'm about to pass out. So it got to a point to where somebody had to like get me some food because I'm like over here just exhausted. We stayed up really late, chatting at the conference and all that. And I mean, it was a good time. It was a good time, man. So I'm looking forward to doing that. We got the Flat Earth Conference in Denver on the 15th and 16th. If you can make it out to that, I'd encourage you to do so. If not, you know, catch the live stream. I mean, it's just going to be like a meetup on steroids, but a little more than that, because as excited as, you know, the people in the audience are to, you know, meet the speakers and all that. I mean, we're excited to meet up with the folks too, you know. I mean, just the same. And if you haven't been to a meetup, schedule one, get to one, because it's important to be around like-minded people. I always say that, and I'll always be saying that, because, you know, we catch so much flack from, you know, society, co-workers, family, sometimes friends, air quote on that one. And, you know, we get a lot of pushback on that type of stuff. So, as far as I know, Denver has meetups fairly regularly, like every other week. I could be wrong. There's Bob from Globebusters. He was actually featured on another quick segment on CBS that I saw. It was on Vincent Rhodes' channel. Shout out to Vincent Rhodes. He put that up today. There was a quick segment that CBS in Colorado, they put up concerning the conference coming up in Denver. And Bob, they interviewed Bob, and they let him say some things that were actually pretty good to be heard on TV. You know, it was a fair piece. It wasn't as long as the one that we went over last week, the one that came out last Sunday, but I mean, for what it was pretty good. It seemed like a pretty fair and balanced, if not promotional, type of situation for Flat Earth. So it wasn't a bad thing. And you know, I don't always say that any publicity is good publicity, but the way that things worked out, and I was listening to Paul on the plane. Shout out to my man Paul. You know, he was kind of talking about that on his show last night, and I was listening. What he was saying was how this whole situation goes. Like in the beginning, the publicity that they'll try to hit me with, as far as hold on, who's this? Carlos, is that you?
Yeah, it's me. I don't know what happened to the profile picture. That's my dog.
I'm like, whose dog is that, man? All right, hold up.
How that became the
what? All right, man. I thought I was about to get porn bombed in here, but all right, hold on. so look, what yeah. No. I was talking about the conference coming up in a little bit, and okay, so he dropped off. He'll be right back. What's up, Dez? I hadn't seen you in a while, man. So the way that Paul on the plane broke things down was how the situation, my situation personally, played out, because it's like they took my spirit level experiment. Now listen, I mean, y'all already know the story. I had like 27 subscribers on YouTube when I put that video up. So I put that video up. I only got 27 subscribers. I shared that to Flat Earth No Trolls. That was my first Flat Earth group that I joined on Facebook. So, you know, I was excited about that, and I put that up like, hey, y'all check this out. You know, I put that video up. And then, you know, I hear from this guy I work with. He says that he put that video up in a Reddit thread. It kind of spread out from there. Some people were saying it was, you know, fake. Some people trying to debunk, people calling it trolling and whatnot. But what happened is IFL Science got a hold of that video, saying that it had went viral, which it hadn't, because it had only got up to like 7,500 views in like 3 weeks. So, I mean, that wasn't like a huge video, but because IFL Science put that video up, like in one day, it went from 7,500 to like 135,000 by the time I went to bed. By the time I woke up and put a video out the next day, it went up to like 237,000, something like that. It just blew up quickly, and that was because they put Flat Earth out there, they put me out there, and then tried to make it a hit piece, but it just exploded, and a percentage of people, of course, are going to come back trolling and saying it's stupid, it's ridiculous, that's the dumbest thing, you didn't prove anything. But there are other people who are like, well, wait a minute, why didn't the bubble go to the back? Why doesn't it look like the plane's dipping its nose? So anytime somebody mentions flat Earth, I'm not saying anytime's a good time, but for the most part, when the media puts it out there, they're not going to convert people from flat Earth back to the globe. You know what I mean? Our numbers only expand. Our numbers only increase. So when they do these hit pieces, they're not. They're working on retention. You know what I mean? We're not losing numbers when they do a hit piece. People already think that flat Earth is stupid, but when people keep hearing about this, and I've heard about this so many times, when people say, I heard about flat Earth and I was like, that's stupid, that's ridiculous. But I was wondering why this person said it. There was a lady I talked to. She said she heard Obama saying it so many times. We don't have time for a meeting on the Flat Earth Society. We've all heard him say that. But when she heard him say that like a second time, she's like, why does he keep saying that? And she looked into flat Earth and became a flat earther. So our numbers aren't decreasing because they put out a hit piece. Our numbers aren't going to decrease if they, take some of us and take snippets from our videos and try to do these interviews and just try to make us look crazy. That's not going to work. It's not going to work, man. They can't stop us. So that's what it is. We got this. We're always expanding. And let me get off my soapbox right here and holler at my man, Carlos Peguero, man. Thanks for joining me, bro.
Bro, it's good to be here, man. Appreciate the invite once again. I know we talked about getting together last week, and we're here today, so
yeah,
it's all good.
Man, look, I be going through some things, bro.
I know. I was gonna hit you up, man. I was gonna hit you up because I kept having this like weird thought, like, man, hit him up real quick because just see how he's doing, and then my stuff just started happening too. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Hey, it's all good, man. We just, politicking, just chopping it up over here, man. But look, I wanted to give you the floor so you could get people up on. Dude, look here. Hold on. Let me get this video on. You just look so crisp over here, man. You got this professional presentation. So I gotta get you out here so you can tell the people what they need, what tools and accessories they need in order to have this crisp presentation like you, man.
Well, I wouldn't suggest doing all this. This is maybe like overkill. I have the equipment, so that's why I do it. But I wouldn't want anybody to just go out there and go broke on this stuff. There's a lot of ways to go around it. I would prefer having people just ask what they need, what in their head they need to start a channel, like certain things like that, and that way I can kind of go into those little subjects because it's so broad of a subject for me to just like, oh, you need a microphone. Well, duh. What kind of microphone, right? Like, so if anyone is in the chat just curious about how to get started, that's hit hit D up with some questions and then we can go from there. But until then, we can get into the picture.
Yeah. Look,
all those questions are while you guys get those questions ready. Just we're gonna show you a little something that I came across early this morning. This is from D's last video, and
cool.
we'll just go into that.
Yeah. The floor is yours, sir.
All right, let me where is it again? Share screen share. right, I got to do this so that I'm not showing the link to the. All right, I think this should be good. I'll just expand it. All right. All right, so guys, I have Photoshop open right now, and I took a screenshot from the video. Actually, why don't you explain to them real quick, if they haven't seen the video, what the video is about, what the screenshot is about before we go into it.
All right, cool. So yeah, if anybody didn't get a chance to check out my video this morning, my most recent video, it was basically NASA put up a picture, and it was supposed to be this rectangular shaped ice shelf. Let me share my screen real quick and show you this thing. I put that up. It was a story in Forbes that saying that NASA found a rectangular shaped iceberg in Antarctica. So, I did a quick story on that, just went through the article, gave my opinion on this, and pulled up the picture and just left the article and just went on about my business. I had to get it uploaded, go to work. So this is the picture that I'm showing you here. And as a result of that, popping up, Carlos hits me up and said, "Hey, I put this in Photoshop and I kind of want to show you something." So I says, "Well, hey, since we were supposed to be doing the interview anyway, how about you know what I'm saying, we'll hook up after I get off work and you can show them what's up." So with that being said, back to you, man.
All right, so do if you click on me, it'll lock me on. That way you don't have to worry about not saying nothing.
All right, cool. I gotta eat too.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. Okay, so I have Photoshop open right here, as you guys can see. These are thumbnails that I created and stuff like that. But I'm gonna drag in the screenshot that I took from NASA's Twitter page, and it's exactly of what you guys see right here. It's a screenshot of Antarctic, whatever landing strip, what I want to call it, right? So if I take the photo, as you guys see right here, I'm going to duplicate it just in case, I mess up or something, but it's really simple. All right, so here is a photo, and the way we mess around with these things is you go to your levels, and then here's the levels, and we can adjust the contrast and levels like that. And that's how, when they say Photoshop friends, like this is what they're talking about. This is how they can tell if something's real or not. And before I show you what I am about to show you, let me grab two photos. I'm going to grab two photos so you can see what we are saying when something's been cut and paste. So let me just put. Okay. Bear with me real quick. Let me just get two. All right, so let's go with this. No. Yes. All right, so I am just grabbing an image. Sorry about this taking so long. And then I'm going to put all right. So we're looking at an image. All right, so I found two images that are similar. So what I will do now is open up a different, before I get to that, 16:9, do this right here. All right, sorry, taking long. And now I have to go into my folders and find the first image, which I'm going to expand. You guys see what I'm doing? So this is just a black image right here, right? And then I'm going to take Daffy Duck. I'm going to stick them in this image, right? So it looks like the image perfect, right? It looks like you can't tell that the two backgrounds are, it looks like it's one image, right? So what a person would do would go into the levels, and then they would bring up the levels, and then you would see, oh, there's something behind there. You could see that it was like cut and paste. So that is exactly what we look for when it comes to Photoshop forensic. So just by adjusting the levels, you can see, oh, there's a black box behind it. Like we've seen NASA do with pictures of the Earth, where they just kind of cut and paste, the Earth supposedly in the background. So that's what we do when we look at these pictures. So you guys have an idea of what we're talking about now. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to look into this picture. So what I'm going to do is the same exact technique. I'm right here in the levels, and I'm just going to slide it. Now, remember, this is supposed to be, let me stop. This is supposed to be a solid image, right? This is supposed to be a solid image, and I'm going to control, go here. Okay, so as you see, I'm going to adjust the picture. And at this point, you're like, well, there's nothing there. Exactly. Not yet. So if I keep messing with the contrast, I can bring up something that shouldn't be there. And this is what I'm talking about right here. Okay, so you see this line right here? This line shows that it's part of this image and not this image. So this right here was literally just cut and paste. So what I'll do here is I'll bring up a fill X here, and I'll just put a circle around this, and you will see the line that I am talking about. Okay, so you guys see this right here? This is what I'm talking about right here. If you guys look close, this is like another piece of this whole broken ice right here. So this should not be there if this was a real photo. If this was a real photo, this should not be there whatsoever. It should look solid. Okay, this should be just a solid piece of ice. There's no possible way that you would be able to see through this. So when we bring back the levels, you could see that hard line there shows that this was just put in place there. So, it's just another way for us to look at this. Obviously, we in the community know that, this is what they do, but there's a lot of people in the community or not in the community, but, people we know, our loved ones that don't understand why we look at pictures and say they're not real. So that's just a little thing we wanted to show. We wanted to do it live rather than just have, D put up a couple of pictures to show you, oh, look, this is what it is. And that's it. Like it's that simple to find out when they're like straight up lying to us. So I'll put this away now. And let me stop sharing. And we're back.
That's what I'm talking about. And while you were working on it, I had to fix my lighting a little bit. Try to keep up with you a little bit. Gosh, I'm all in the dark over here. But yeah, man. See, I appreciate you, man, because I don't have Photoshop. I don't have Photoshop skills. Um, so having you break this stuff down, y'all. See, that's why Carlos, that's my man right here, y'all. This is my tech guru. This is my tech guy. People ask me questions. I'm like, hold on, let me give him my tech guy. You know what I'm saying? Last year, yeah, Carlos is the one who put together this design. Actually, he the No Limit logo. This guy right here hooked that up. So I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
You know
man.
that's what it is, man. Y'all subscribe to Carlos Peguero if you haven't already. Seriously, man. So
Yeah,
there it
so
is,
stuff
folks.
like that. It's stuff like that that people need to know. People need to know that that's how we that's how we in the community who have these tools to be able to present to you guys can definitely show, you know, the trickery. Now, it's they did a good job, right? Like if you look at newer pictures, they went back into like if you go into NASA's website 3 years ago, they were sloppy. I mean, they were sloppy. They were just doing the cut and paste, like I showed you with Daffy Duck, how I took two black images and then I showed you how easy it is to verify. So now they spent some money cleaning all those pictures up. So this is why it's important for us to be on top of these things because um, if I were to take a picture from NASA's website right now, it would be harder to identify that. Now they post stuff like this, and then it goes on Forbes magazine, it goes on their Twitter page, and they're not too concerned because they don't see a lot of people doing what we just did, which is going through that photo with a fine tooth comb. You know, they're more interested in just like mesmerizing the public, you know, oh my God. And you know, how many people probably thought that this was real? Like this is, you know, and I'll say the person who made it did a great job. You can't do better than what they did in a sense, you know what I mean? But it just
Right.
takes someone like us to decide to expose that it's not real. It's just not. It's, you know, they're like, you know, a lot of things that they do is there to, you know, see if we'll catch on. And once we catch on, then they're like, all right, got to move on to the next trickery.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. Look, hey, if anybody has questions for Carlos, put it in all caps in the chat, and I'll pass that off to him. But yeah,
I
man,
see
people.
Fired for Truth is in the house, man. What's up, Nate? How you doing? If you guys don't know, Fired for Truth is the pastor who got fired for believing in truth.
Oh, he's
So,
here.
yeah, that's him right there.
Oh,
Fired
hey,
for Truth.
man, what's going on?
You guys
All
gotta check
right,
him
that's
out
cool.
too.
All right, yeah, yeah, straight up. So, oh yeah, and thanks to Mile High Scripts and Flathead Politics. Um, but yeah, appreciate the donations, man. Um, yeah, man. See that's what it is. That's why we need folks like you in the community, man, hooking this stuff up. Cause dealing with me, I'm like, I'm low tech over here. So,
No,
man.
you got a lot of skills, man. And you know, one thing I learned is, you know, we're all in a certain level, but you know, like what I know is a lot, right? But there's people out there that surpass me in this stuff, you know. This is a lot of self-taught uh gifts, I guess,
Yeah.
because they're definitely gifts. I think you know God gives you a passion for something like this, and you go through it, and then he sees how far you're gonna take, and then that's kind of like where my testimony comes in, which is um like I've done YouTube for probably like 5-6 years now, right? And it
Mhm.
was on just a tech channel, which we're gonna get into the tech side of stuff in this community. But I always wonder, like, why did I develop these like gifts, right? Like how to, you know, use Photoshop, um, how to how to create video, how to learn about cameras. All that played into my awakening because when I started coming across this stuff, I started noticing like, wait a second, that's easy to do. Like I can replicate that, and I'm nobody. So a lot of that stuff is what helped me awake to this truth and to a lot of the lies that are always being presented to us. So for us, you know, at least for myself, I knew that once I had these gifts, and I'm still learning, that I needed to use them in a better, something bigger was going to happen. I always had that feeling like I didn't just learn these so I could make home videos. Like it was like, there's going to be a time when I'm going to use this. And what happened was this came across, I was ready to receive it. And I finally had that peace from God to know that He was like, all right, now everything I've shown you and taught you, use this for the good. Let's take this and use this to expose these people. And that's why I created the other YouTube channel, my what I would consider now is my main channel, because it's where I like to spend most of my time researching flat earth, researching biblical cosmology, Nephilim research, just the whole New World Order agenda behind the whole topic. That's why I decided to dive in deep, because I felt a calling with all the new gifts. Because listen, before I even got into YouTube, I didn't have a care in the world to learn how to edit video. It was just not something I wanted to do. It was just like, you know, that was great for the people who knew how to do that, but that's not that's not what I was called to do.
Mhm.
And you just never know where life takes you if you allow it to. For me, I feel, if I allow, the creator to push me in that direction instead of being in his way, I allow him to guide me, and here we are. So I'm hoping that a lot more people get involved, because there's probably people who have PhDs that can open up even more people's eyes, because someone might not want to listen to D or myself because we don't have a degree in you know theology or aero aerophysics, whatever. They
Right,
might
right.
have to have somebody in that field open their eyes, and that's only going to happen with people like D and myself and others in the community. I could see a bunch of people in the chat exposing and helping them understand, helping them open their eyes to this truth.
Yeah,
So that's why we're here. I'm hoping that I can help anybody out. Um, as long as I see that there's a real desire, I'm always willing to help out and see what I can do from my side. I was telling people um, a while back that I go around YouTube channels that I see are creating content and doing good work, and I'll just make them a YouTube banner. Part of it, I would say 50% is me just constantly trying to evolve my skills. And the other was because I want their channel to look presentable. I want their content to match, their YouTube page. So I do that for people sometimes. And because I want to do that, I want to give back in some other way. Like I don't have 100,000 subscribers. Um, so I don't have a huge voice in the community, but what I try to do is try to provide solid information and try to give back in my own ways. So that's why D invited me on, so we can, go through some of this stuff to help people who are struggling. Like I want to create videos, but I don't know how to start. That's, obviously I have other information, and when you go to my YouTube channel, you guys can check that out. And I think it'll bless a lot of people. But he knows that I have a passion for the tech side of stuff, and I definitely want to make sure that people know a lot of the information that it's hard to understand at times as well. So
yeah, yeah. And I try not to bug you a
no,
whole lot with,
man, bug me,
you
brother.
know.
I need that. That.
I hit you up every now and then, like, hey man, I need a graphic to do this. I want it to look something like that. Yeah, I'm saying you had hooked up the banner for me where I got the shades on, the blue background, FE offensive. You said you hooked up the background for Mark Sargent's channel, the banner for that. Um, we're gonna have to talk some more, man. I don't know how to get the thumbnail to change on when I'm doing a live stream directly. It's got to be like the OBS setup, but yeah, we'll talk about that offline, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually because it was a slower day today at work. But it started ramping up right towards the end. I was about to leave, but in the
Mhm.
process of in between haircuts, I was like designing a thumbnail for this video right here. It was coming
Okay,
along pretty
cool.
good.
Okay,
But so
good.
I'll give it to you when we finish. I didn't finish it, but it'll take me a few minutes just to finish it, and then we make the thumbnail for
Right, right,
the end of
right.
this video. And you know
Okay,
what
cool.
would be cool too
Because
though
you
is
know I'm low tech. I just take a picture of me, picture of you, put some words on it. You know what I'm saying? I know you're not having it.
but check this out.
Yeah.
So that people don't have to, go through the whole video. There's people with very low uh, attention span.
Right.
Download this video and just take that part where we showed the whole Photoshop aspect, and then you can make that its own video.
Yeah. I
Just
might. Yeah. I might have to do that. I might have to do that.
because someone might not want to, watch a
Watch
two
a.
hangout.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. However long we on this thing, I get. I get that. And
I
I was
know.
thinking about that earlier, man. Oh, my bad. I was
No,
thinking
no,
about that earlier. How me and Vegan will cover some stuff on Friday, and now I go back like, man, if I could take some of those things and make them like smaller segments, um, that could be like 2 or 3 different videos,
yeah.
each week from that. But that's why I ended up doing that weekly wrap up, because there's so much stuff going on, and I'm like, no, I'm stuck. I'm gonna just take everything, do it in the wrap up, call it good. But you'll be proud of me for this. I just figured something out. I just figured something out. And this is
Okay.
some low tech stuff. Let me expose myself real quick. Hold up. Shout out to China Mrs. Jones. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. But look, man, I just figured this out. You're gonna laugh at me about this. So the last 2 videos that I made, right? It's like I just figured out how to like kind of double up on the apps that I have on my laptop already. So I got this one called Any Screen Recorder. That's how I do my screen records. And then I just figured out that I could do movies on QuickTime.
Uh,
So yeah,
just ask if you like having concerns. Just ask me. I would. Because did you update to the newest Mac OS?
probably not. Probably not. I always see that thing pop up and I'm like, remind me tomorrow. you
Well,
know
if you do, they have a new built-in screen recorder. It's
what?
really good. It's like they took what is that thing? QuickTime, and they integrated into the screen capture. So at the same time as being able to capture your screen, you can also do a recording. It's pretty dope.
Okay. See that?
And you can still
Yeah, I'm saying
use the
I
microphone.
kind of figured out the bootleg side of that whole thing, because what I'll do now is like I'll open up any screen recorder, and then I'll start doing a screen record, and then I'll hit record on QuickTime to have that little box, and then I'm like, okay, so I got 2 videos recording at the same time, so it's recording the screen, and then I'll minimize QuickTime, put it down here, it's still recording me, but it's just recording the screen while I'm going through the article and all that. So I'm like, I'll be able to do more articles like the one that I did this morning and the video I did yesterday, because I like just figured that out. But I probably should have talked to you about that. But see, I just told you. See, I don't like to bug you with this stuff.
No,
I'm like,
you're not
yeah,
bugging. Man, you're not bugging. When I get around to it, I'm gonna answer as soon as I can.
yeah,
That's why I have this knowledge. I'm not gonna just hold on to it for myself. Dude, I learn things all the time too. I'm learning um new things. Like I just learned that about the whole screen recording and stuff like that. So
yeah.
that's something that just came up across my eyes, I would say a week ago. So
Oh,
nothing
you
big
you
deal.
just now getting on screen recording? Oh man,
No,
I could have told you about that, bro. I got you.
no, I'm talking about doing it from the Mac. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm playing with you. I know you run circles around me with this tech stuff. But hey, you got a question though. Midi HC said, "What kind of camera are you using?" Gotta know. I gotta
Okay.
know.
So I have 3 cameras. I have 3 pretty expensive cameras. This is the new Sony A7 III. It's a full frame 24 megapixel camera. Um, it's an amazing, it's probably the best camera of the year. It came out early this year, and even at this point, it's really hard to get. Um, it's really hard to get because there's such a high demand that it's hard to keep in stock. The reason why it's such a high demand is because as a full frame 4K camera, it's only $2,000. And I know most people are like, $2,000, that's a lot of money. Trust me, high end cameras that have similar specs to what this camera has cost double the money. Sometimes it's $4,000. All right. So when this came out at an affordable, what we would consider an affordable price, like $2,000, people jumped on it because it has so many. It's one of the best low light cameras there is. The dynamic range that comes out of this camera is amazing. Okay, and what I mean by dynamic range, like a lot of people don't realize, like the argument that NASA and the NASA ball heads like to use is, well, of course you can't see stars, right? Because it's making they have to adjust the shutter speed. They have to adjust these different settings in order to capture the Earth. So if they didn't do that, then yeah, of course you would see all the stars. But because the Earth is so bright, the camera is focused on the brightness of the Earth, so it has to turn a lot of those features down. But in photography, if you use it in manual mode, you can adjust all those perfectly and you would supposedly see the stars. But my theory is that at a certain height, the stars definitely become invisible to a degree. Like if you go on your airplane, you would think being higher up, you should see more, but it's not. It's not. You don't necessarily see more stars. Um, and a lot of it also has to do with light pollution, the light pollution from the ground, from the street lights and stuff like that. That's why um, when you go out to like the desert and there's not all this light pollution, you can look up and all of a sudden it's like you see everything. Well, it's not like they weren't there in your neighborhood. The problem is that what we call light pollution is affecting the iris in your eyeballs. So your eyes kind of make this perfect adjustment, and that's what we would consider with camera talk high dynamic range. So this camera would have 14 stops of high dynamic range, which means that it can adjust between the overexposed side of an image and what is really bright, which could be right in front of it. Or let's say if you look on your, if you take cell phone selfies or video and you're outside, behind you looks like it's completely white out. That's because the camera can't figure out, like, okay, if I make the sky, if I expose for the sky, well, then he's going to be completely dark. So naturally what the camera does is it's going to adjust for you to look good and then make the background look like crap necessarily. So it's one of those things that these cameras in today's day and age, that excuse of, oh, we shouldn't see stars because, you know, we have these whack cameras nowadays is gone. Even my cell phone, I could take a picture at night and still have the street light blazing into the and this has a tiny sensor blazing into the camera itself, and I can still take pictures and you can still see the dots from the stars. And that's how good the technology is. That's how amazing the technology is, that it's catching up to all their lies. And there's a lot of photographers who are starting to understand all this stuff. And you know, that's why when I see people who are photographers and they don't get it, I'm like, man, you got your programming is working on you, because you should know by your equipment that how things work, how why things are the way they are. I'm sorry if I'm going over some people's head. I'm sorry if some of this like what I'm saying doesn't make sense to people, but more or less, when you go outside, right? If you're just a person, you're walking outside from a dark room into a like really bright daylight, your eyes naturally will adjust. But everybody's had those situations where you close your eyes and then you go outside, walk outside, and it's like blinding white, and all of a sudden your eyes slowly seem to make the adjustment, and now you can see the sky is actually blue and it's not white. Well, that's the same thing that happens with cameras.
That's what's up, man. Look, so I was able to keep up with some of that. I'm over
We'll
here
just
eating.
ask questions that refer to that, or any other questions. We'll we'll get on them.
I don't know. I got the part where it was like where I see how your camera works, where it just focuses in on you and then kind of makes the background like blurry a little
Yeah.
bit. So
So all the most cameras have like a dual exposure. You have what the camera will increase. Like I'll show you right now. So if I go to my camera and I adjust the exposure, see how it just gets dark. So I can make it
right.
dark, right? Or I can make it really bright. And that's one way of exposing uh for your camera, and that's called ISO. So your ISO exposes internally, so it's a fake, it creates a fake light inside the camera. So that's why, people who shoot video, they'll have external lights, so that the more light you put on your subject,
Mm-hmm.
and the less you make your camera adjust for that, the better your image looks.
Hmm.
And if you allow your camera to adjust the light for you, it'll start looking worse because it has to manufacture fake light. Yeah. So
All right.
so when I turn off a light, so let's say I have this light right here. You see how my face looks worse because it looks a little too bright, right? So you
Yeah.
start missing details in my face, because and the closer I get, the worse it looks, right? But
Right.
if I
Right.
take that light and I start spreading it out, all of a sudden that light, now you can see more of my face, you see more of the details. Sometimes it can create a shadow. So if I turn off this light, now I'm lit only from one side.
Huh.
So that's another thing of why back in the day when people were looking into NASA and the moon landings, they were saying it was fake, because they were saying, how is this shadow coming from this one source light, but there's another shadow come. So, those people who knew about this stuff were the ones calling NASA out during those days. But other people
Right.
who didn't understand what they were talking about, it was just like, no, they went to the moon, bro. What are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. With shadow, what does a shadow mean? Well, someone who knows how to light a room would know that, yeah, that room was well lit. That was definitely done in the basement. You know what I mean? That was definitely done in some sort of storage room.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. All right, man. That's a solid breakdown. You would expect people that have a more personalized understanding of light, shadows, and all that good stuff to be talking about it, and then people in the general populace who have no idea would be like, what are you talking about? Because
Yeah,
they just don't know.
and
They're not on the same level, as it were.
and that's it. And a lot of that is people not coming across, like, this is what's wrong with the school system, right? In the school system, instead of teaching us this bogus history that they constantly shove down our throat, if this was actually a society that wanted to improve their individuals, they would teach you more hands-on uh things like this, tools that you can use on your everyday life. Like, why wouldn't they teach you how to pay your taxes? Or why wouldn't they teach you how to, and I'm not saying pay your taxes, but I'm just saying, why wouldn't they teach you how to manage your book, manage your money, how to take care of a house, or,
Right.
how to keep your car fixed, how to change a tire, how to change your oil, how to cook? Why wouldn't they focus
Yeah.
on real life issues that you have to do on a day-to-day basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of teaching us the garbage that they teach us. But they know if they teach everyone this, they can't lie to us, because we would see right through it. So that's why they dumb us down with a bunch of stuff that makes absolutely no sense to most of us, and then when you look into it, you realize it's just, they're all lies. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
realizing how much of a lie is here compared to over here. So it should be, once you get to a certain age, we should look into these things for ourselves. We shouldn't allow them to dictate what we know. And that's why this movement has grown so much, is because people have stopped allowing them to dictate what we know. So
Yeah.
we've
Yeah. Absolutely.
related to something, right? We've related to a video in some way or another, a video that we thought was idiotic and retarded, because it was flat earth. Why would we look into something like that? But something hit us, something triggered us. And because of that, we all started becoming more researchers. We all decided to open our eyes to what could be true. What is the possibility? So now we know the truth, right? And a lot of us are still learning some of these truths. Like there's no one has it all figured out. That's the one thing that I can say for 100% definite. No one has it all figured out. And
Yeah.
we're each
And
trying to learn.
and we get penalized that on that a lot by the global believers. But I mean, because they'll come around and say, well, you guys need a model. You guys don't have a model. What's up with your model? This doesn't work on your model. Y'all don't have a model either,
No,
because
but
water
they've been
doesn't
told
conform to
they
the exterior surface of the wall.
exactly.
So
But
so I mean,
they've been told for so long that this is what it looks like. So in their mind, they think, well, that's our model. Well, if anyone with a brain would think, if that's our model, why is this bozo telling me that it's no Blake spheroid when what
yeah,
I'm seeing is a perfect circle?
exactly,
Two don't
exactly,
correlate. So if you would open your eyes to realize you don't have a model, you have 100 maps that each, are right in their own little way, that doesn't make it an accurate map. It makes an accurate map for what they're using it for. Oh, you want to
right,
learn the distance between things? Use this map. Oh, you want to learn, how the oceans work? Use this map. But they don't have not one map that solves all those problems. They
nah,
have to they have
nah,
to provide us with a so the globalists, the globe believers, they don't understand that, and they argue with us as if we're trying to feed them poison. And it's like, no, if you get out of your own way and your own pride, try to listen to what they're saying to you before you start, you know, villainizing us.
right, absolutely. Here, got a question. Miss Tony wants to know, do you offer help to new YouTubers?
Sure. I mean, and that's part of what this video is about is like, of course I do. Yes, I definitely do. I'm also very think about this, being in this community, you have your guard up, right? So I don't always want to make myself 100% available
Yeah,
because I kind of have like my guard up. Like I don't trust everyone that comes across a lot of it goes through, the gut feeling that we get. Um,
right,
and and because I've had people try to contact me and they're like, oh, can I get help with this? And you realize they don't really want your help. They just want to take your time up, and nothing really gets solved. And sometimes these people, are shills for, the governments and whatnot. I've had one individual like, hey, can you help me out with what this means? Like how come, water, this and that, early on. And I went through it for 2-3 weeks, and I'm like, dude, wait a second. So you're a baller who's looking into this subject, or you're just trying to tell me what, you're trying to defend what you believe and taking up my time, not taking in any of the information I'm giving you, but you always have a rebuttal. So I realized, like, oh, I see what you wanted. You wanted to distract me from making videos. You wanted to keep me from talking about the truth. Your
exactly,
whole agenda was to keep me answering your information so that I wasn't doing the real information. I wasn't putting out real information. So then I was like, okay, I get it. Boom. So I just stopped them. I just blocked the person. And I've had others come across the same way. So yeah, I'm definitely willing to help people, but
yeah,
also give me time to kind of vet things out.
yeah,
Don't get too upset.
absolutely, absolutely. I feel you, man. Definitely want to. keep an eye on these folks. Not not these folks. Folks in the chat are cool. I mean, the other folks. These are the best people on the plane. But I'm saying, man, I look the trolling on YouTube, man. The trolling on Facebook, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that so many people have all this time to just follow people around on social media, or hey, I'm subscribed to this person so I can get on this video and make a negative comment. I could have swore I got a screenshot on one of my most recent live streams. I was on with Vegan Warrior on Friday, and there was one cat in there named the Devil's Advocate that said I get like 350 for going to videos and saying that it's not flat, or just making negative comments. And there was actually a guy on my spirit level video who actually left a comment apologizing for putting a negative comment there. So there's definitely paid trolls out there, and they'll be. I mean, it's like the sneaky tactics they'll use. It's like they'll ask a question, saying that they're sincere, and then will ask another question, and then another question, and another question. And after a while, you're like, do your own research. I gotta go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just trying to waste your time, trying to pull you away from what you're doing. And I mean, look, folks, be careful. Be careful where you spend your time. If people just keep asking you question after question, after a little while, just link them to ODD's 21 questions or Flat Earth in 5 minutes.
Well, that's my litmus test right there. That's my litmus test. If I'm talking to somebody, and obviously in this movement, it's a very visual movement. And what I mean by that is that we can talk, numbers, we can talk and try to describe things, but if you can't see what we're describing, it's a lot harder to really get. That's why you'll see a lot of people who are, deep into the conversation say, look, man, I need you to spend 5 minutes, watch this for 5 minutes and then come back at me, because if you can't watch this for 5 minutes, you're never going to understand. And that brings me to like this whole map argument, the AE map thing. Look, I use the AE map as a tool.
Yep.
And the reason why is because it's a visual tool for people to see how things could be laid out. How, obviously the size of certain continents are not going to match up with reality, but what it is a way for, because when I seen that myself, oh, planes can circumnavigate the earth. I get it.
Right.
I see it. Why? Because this map shows an example of how it's done. So because of that, if I introduce somebody to this and I say, here's a little bit of homework, let me see where you're really at. Here's a 5-minute video done by an amazing flat earther in ODD. Watch this and tell me what you think. Now, if you can watch that and come back and have questions, now I know you're serious. But if you watch that and your questions are more of, oh, that's impossible, now I can't keep going with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You heard, it's like this, like in Christianity, and I relate what's going on with the flat earth with Christianity. As I'm a Christian, and I remember when I first got born again, saved, I wanted to tell everybody, right? So then you have to learn, you have all this passion, and that's what I see what's going on here. Like people who learn about flat earth, and they just want to tell everybody, and they want to go out there and do the community things, and go out there and speak, and I get it. I love it. I've seen it, I've dealt with it on not just the Christian side, but also the flat earth side. I talk to people on a regular basis. And when you're honing your skills, you realize, like, unless I can show someone an example of what I'm talking about, they're not going to get it. That's why you hear a lot of us, especially D, say water is always level. Why? Because everyone has experienced water being level at some time. Okay. Everyone has seen a pool. Everyone has seen a lake. Now, if you're blind, I'm sure you heard about it. All right.
I always got a gallon jug with me just so I can show somebody.
Yeah. And when we say this, When we say the water is always level, we're saying that when the water is finally settled, okay, because we know the oceans have currents and they have rip tides and they have waves, but when water is at its still, it always will find its level. It's going to go through every crack and it's going to level itself out. So that's a perfect example, and why so many of us use that example, because at the end of the day, you cannot defend that. That is natural science. That is something we see on a regular basis, almost every day. You got your juice, you drink some of it, the water, the juice in the cup
Right.
finds its
Look
level.
at the silver.
Okay, when it's
Right. Look at
tilted,
the sun.
it doesn't wait. There's not a wave. It just finds its level.
Yeah.
Okay. The cup
As
is
soon,
here. It
as soon as
finds
it
itself
stops
when the cup
moving,
is here. Yeah. So a lot of us use that as an example because it's relatable. But some of the
people
stuff
don't
that
get it.
we talk about, yeah, some of the stuff we talk about is hard to visualize. So yeah, that's when we bring in these videos. That's why we bring in these examples. A lot of times when I'm talking to somebody, I like them to use their own phone. So when I say, hey, look up Antarctica,
Yeah.
Google Antarctica, and now they see what we would say the ice wall. And the funniest thing is that they never even knew about that. They knew about Antarctica. They didn't know that Antarctica was possibly a sheet of, I don't want to say sheet, but a barrier surrounding the Earth.
Yeah.
And they do it from their own phone, and they're typing in, it's their hands doing this.
Hmm.
So there's a there now they have like the experience of they're researching flat earth. I'm not researching it. You're using your phone, you're using your fingers, and you're typing in those words. That's a small little indication of holy crap, like why is there an ice wall there? Okay, because
Right. Right. Look.
of the earth. And then you look at them and they're like, wait a second.
Man, you yeah, see, you're good at that. I haven't gotten around to the point of activism in conversation to have somebody pull their phone out and start looking this stuff up themselves. I'm usually sitting here like, look, I'll flip my laptop around and start showing them there. And I'll pull up a video that I did or somebody else's video or some pictures and I'll just explain this stuff. I love talking flat earth to people when I'm on a plane because I got them stuck in a seat for like 3 hours.
Exactly.
So, and I mean, by the end of the trip, they're like, "Nice talking to you, man." They're like kind of confused, like, I don't know where I am anymore, because I mean, give me some time, and I will take care of like anybody out on the street. But oh here, shout out to Mr. Akil Will. Appreciate you. He says, please speak on IR photography, drones, and we're already talking about Antarctica. But as far as the IR photography, what do you know about that? Because there's been I believe Jay Tolan Media. You seen those long distance shots where he's got the IR
Yeah.
set up with his camera. He's getting like video and images from like hundreds of miles away.
Yeah.
You seen those?
The amazing thing about the IR stuff is that it cuts away through the atmosphere. So that line that sometimes looks like it could kind of curve, it eats
Mm-hmm.
away all that. And a lot of that is like clouds, when we're looking at a cloud, we're looking at it from 10,000 feet above us, right? But
Yeah.
when you start putting your head and you start leaning it towards the horizon, those same 10,000 feet clouds are now at your feet because you're
Right.
looking. We all know that our eyesights go into like a triangle, a pyramid type eyesight. Everything converts to, the ground.
Yeah.
So IR eats through all that haze. So it's amazing. It's quite expensive. I know of people, and these are not flat earthers. I just knew of a guy who had a bunch of cameras, and there's companies out there that will convert your sensor. And what they do is that almost every camera, I would say every camera nowadays, has an IR capability. It just needs to take away from there's because the way that light hits the sensors, um there's like different filters a sensor might have, and that's how it reads information. That's how colors are red in a sensor. So what they
Mm-hmm.
do is they block some of those colors, some of those things. That's why an image looks kind of weird. Sometimes they look black and white. There's some
Yeah.
people who can put an IR, they have like real good IR. It could make it look pink and gray, green and purple. It's weird. So there's
Right.
different levels of it. There's companies out there that will take your old cameras and convert them into like only seeing the IR spectrum, which is amazing. And that's why now this whole new technology, it's not new, this whole new introduction to our world, okay, is amazing because of what we're able to use that tool. Again, the powers that be, I don't believe understood what the technology was going to catch up with them. And people like that gentleman that you said, I seen a video where he does show, it shows you how it cuts through all that haze, all that the heat wave that can distort stuff. And it just, you can see like the horizon really more defined, and it's amazing. And
Yeah.
what was the other thing?
Let me see. It
That
was
was like a
about,
3-part question.
yeah, it was wanted us to talk about IR photography drones. What you know about
Drones are
drones?
cool. This one thing, drones. I have a drone. It's Do I have it here? Yes, actually, right here. Okay, so this little guy right here. All right, shoots an amazing quality. Okay, it's got a small sensor. I believe David Weiss, DRTRH, he uses the same drone. Okay, and they're great because they're so small, but the technology that's in these drones is, I mean, people don't realize like this is, again, the technology is catching up with their lives. The
Mhm.
problem with drones itself, not that they're a problem, is that there's so many restrictions now. The FAA has like, you got to have a license, you have
What?
to be a certain, yeah, it's an easy way to get a license. So it's like you go and you just register the drone, and then that now has like a serial number attached to the drone. So if something happens, they can go after you, more or less. Um,
Great.
but like there's the flying, some of the flying restrictions is depending how far, you can't be like 3 or 4 miles. I think you have to be about 5 to 10 miles away from the airport just to be able to take off. Right.
Mhm.
Another thing is that there's a 400 feet restriction. But see, the thing with that is that it has to be 400 feet from where it takes off. If you're in the mountain and you're already 2,000 feet up, now you have an extra 400 feet to go up.
Aha.
And the cool thing with this is that when I bought this, I don't even think I was a flat earther at the time. I was just excited to get a drone because I wanted to shoot cinematic videos and have this drone do all this cool stuff. But I live right by the ocean. I'm a 10-minute drive away from the ocean. So
Oh
one of
man.
the first things I did was I went straight to the ocean. I shot videos of this. And one of the examples that many people in our community say is that the higher you get, the more the horizon goes to your eye level. Obviously, we know it doesn't rise up right to your eyeballs. We just know that it's coming up as we go up. It's coming up with us. Now, it could be a
Yeah.
foot down from our head. It could be a foot. That's what we're trying to explain. And so I took that into practice. Does it come up with me? Now I'm going to do my own research. Took the drone straight up, and as I'm going up higher and higher, the horizon's following the drone, it seems. So here's an example proving what we always say is actually happening. Now, again, you're only allowed to fly about 400 feet. You can disable some of those features to go higher, but how much higher do you need? You obviously can't go a mile up because you're gonna hit an airplane. It's bound to happen if they would have. So I get why they have the restrictions, but
Yeah.
with that being said, these
Well,
things are great tools, but they're also susceptible. I can't say the word. I can't.
susceptible.
Words are hard today. Successful. All right, whatever. The problem with
Yeah.
this is these lenses are not 100% accurate when it comes to how it catches. Because they're very wide lenses. They're not
Mhm.
GoPro fisheye lens. Like this has 120 degrees visual. So at the edges, you'll see a small little bend, which you can easily correct that in your editor. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
just natural. That happens with a lot of wide angle lenses. It tends to bend horizon a little bit. But again, these still show a flat horizon. You know what I mean? Unless you go in and you go with fisheye mode, which, I don't know why people would want to do that. The funny thing is that what's happening now is they're coming out with these 360 cameras. I love how they call it 360, right?
Right.
360,
Right.
huh? Some symbolism there, right? But
Yep.
they're creating these planets, right? You can have planet D Marble, you got planet Carlos, you got planet. So these new 360 cameras, they have a feature in it that creates a little planet. It's crazy. And my opinion with that is because it's such a gimmick. It's such a gimmick to use that they're only putting it in people's subconsciousness so that they constantly see a planet, a little sphere, because they can't create. When you go up to 80,000 feet, 120,000 feet, what happens? The horizon's always level, the horizon's always flat, right? So the only time we can go up to those heights and see a curvature is when they put some sort of GoPro fisheye. I'm not even saying just GoPro, but just putting such a wide angle lens, it bends every straight lines. So because of that, all right, they've decided let's move on to the ground. So you can get a 360 cam, and it adds a fisheye. I mean, they call it like a planet mode, and it can literally create a planet. And you're in the center
Right.
of it. It's crazy. I mean, I guarantee if we Google some of these, and
I've,
just
I've, I've seen some. I've seen
yeah,
some, and
the
it's
thing is,
ridiculous.
cameras are so affordable, right? The cameras are super affordable. You can get like one of these little cameras for like 150 bucks, 200 bucks, and it gives you this feature. And yeah, aesthetically, it looks cool. But when it comes to topics like this, it's like, no, get away from me, Satan, because they're using these tools to keep people dumbed down because subconsciously you're always thinking about, oh yeah, we live on a ball. I seen a ball. Hey, I have a picture where I'm on a ball. That's the only way you can
Yeah.
live on a ball, people, is by
Yeah.
trickery and and
It's
manipulation.
a figment of your imagination. And
Yeah.
you know what? I wanted to do a video a while back. I had the thought about it. It was like they I saw an advertisement for like some virtual reality glasses, and in this ad, all I was seeing was curvature. Like I mean, it's like they're looking through a city. It's like virtual reality or whatever, and I mean they're like programming the artificial curvature into the VR, so it just further ingrains the ball earth deception into people's mind, man. And I promise I want to do a video about that. I forgot about the advertisement. Slept. Life pops up, you know what I'm saying? I got so many projects going on, but I saw that, man. I'm like, it's just more programming. The
Yeah.
virtual reality glasses, the videos that they're gonna have in there, it's like they got you going over a roller coaster. They got you, okay, you can take flight. You're just sitting there and you're just intaking all this imagery, and it's always curved.
Yeah.
But
So
there's
check this out. I
curvature
pulled
when
it
you
up
take
right
the
here.
glasses off and look around in reality, though.
Yeah. So here, this is what I'm talking about right here. These are the
Yeah,
cameras that can create like they call them little planets, right? So here's an example right here of someone who has it on their helmet. They have it on a bike, and you can see it literally creates a small planet, right? So it's the imagery that we get stuck seeing. Here's another example of a guy holding it outwards, and it looks like he's on a planet, right?
that
It's
is
crazy. The
ridiculous.
technology is so far out there and we have it in our hands that the only reason why this even exists is to keep us feeling like we live. Look at this, the one with all the flags. Come on, is that not symbolism? If I could ever see, you know what I mean? It's like, what's the whole purpose of this? Was this lady work for Antarctica or something? Like, it's crazy. So we have to be aware of this stuff. We understand. We know that the programming is really ingrained for the people who don't look into this stuff.
Yeah.
Because of that, it's hard for a lot of people to see this. I come back to it where I realize like I'm not gonna win every battle. You know, I'm not going to win every battle because this is not easy for everybody to accept. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're constantly being bombarded with uh, all the programming that comes from the television, the movies. You know, when it comes to just your phone, like everything is being talked about in a you're if you think this way, you're an idiot. You're a flat earther. You know, let's make that word synonymous with being a moron. So if I say, oh, you must be a flat earther, what I'm really saying is you're a freaking idiot who I can't
Yeah,
even talk to anymore.
yeah, yeah. And society programmed everybody to treat us that way. And I've said this so many times. I'm like, yo, why is it that society's been programmed to accept all kinds of craziness in the system? All right, we got grown men that want to dress like little girls,
Yeah.
or females that want to go into women's bathroom. That's cool. We'll pass bills for that. That's not a problem. Man in a Dress won Woman of the Year a couple years back. Where they do that at? But I mean, in society is taught to accept these things. It's like there's different aspects of foreign populations who would want to come in, that people will look at them and they're like, oh no, we don't want these people here, and other people are fighting for them. But this is some left right paradigm stuff. But man, anybody that steps out and says that the earth is flat, left, right, whatever, it's yo, no holds barred. This person's an idiot, and all of like it's acceptable. We're the only group, flat earthers. We're the only group that it is widely accepted and promoted to ridicule. Period. So that, I mean, that in itself is another red flag, man.
Yeah,
It's just
it
it's just
is.
another red flag.
It is. It's 100%. And that's what we have to realize, that it's going to be hard for a lot of people. But the crazy thing is, listen, the whole light at the end of the tunnel aspect is that so many more people know about this than I ever thought would know. You know, from 2 3 years ago when we first got into this, I didn't see it growing as fast. So much so that, if I get in the conspiracy aspect, this whole YouTube blackout, I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to change some coding in order to um, mess with some algorithms and really start dialing up and locating this kind of conspiracy talk, what they would consider, right. So I wouldn't be surprised if that blackout had to do with that. Uh, and I say this because someone who knows a lot of, I would say a fair amount about computers knows that if there's a Windows update, if there's a piece, any kind of update where you're on Mac or PC, the really aggressive upgrades, what I would say, like let's say you downloaded an app and now there's an update, the ones that really need to take the most effect for your computer to have the most success, for it to run at its best, need
Mm-hmm.
the computer to restart right after you update it. In
See,
order for the actual update to take hold, it needs to restart. So in my opinion, they probably coded something in the algorithm or in the YouTube, whatever they're using, right? And they had to hit
yeah,
reset in order for it to take full effect, because this movement has been going so strong, so fast, that even when they make fun of us, there's still that one or two people who look at it and say, well, maybe not all the information is as dumb as I thought, right? And
yeah,
next thing you know, they're flat earthers. So it's one person at a time, one idea at a time that's catching up with them. And that because it's like in Christianity, we always talk about how you never know who that person is that you're going to save. That person could
yeah.
be the next televangelist. And I'm not talking about televangelists are good people. I'm just saying that
Oh no, no, they're
that
terrible.
that that
No,
one
go ahead.
person could be the next D Marble. That one person can be the next Jaron Campbell, the next ODD. That one person could reach 100 times more people than you. But if it wasn't for you, that person And those people behind that person would have never been able to wake up, because that person that you woke up, and it's only one individual, can touch millions. So
Exactly.
ODD
Exactly. And
puts a video
that's
out, and it affects millions of people, and he's just
yeah,
one man, you know?
exactly. It's like planting seeds or like ripples in a ocean. You know what I mean? I like the aspect of planting seeds. Um, Anybody that's been following me on Facebook, maybe Instagram, you've seen pictures that I'll post where I got cantaloupe cut in half. That's kind of been my thing lately. I've been on a cantaloupe kick. I'll cut a cantaloupe in half. And I was doing this the other day, man. I cut my cantaloupe, and I'm looking on the inside, and I'm like, there are so many seeds in this one cantaloupe.
Yep.
So many seeds. Like from this one cantaloupe, I could go plant freaking cantaloupe seeds on a football field or bigger off of the seeds from one cantaloupe. So that's how I look at this whole situation, man. It's like you were just saying, you never know who you're gonna affect because I mean, just by planting the seed at one point, somebody might get it, somebody might not get it. But as long as you plant the seed and walk away, it'll be watered or it won't. Just like that that parable in the Bible, in the New Testament somewhere, it talked about some seeds fell on good ground, some fell in the thistles, some fell on the rocks, and whatnot. But at the same time, there's gonna be some that come up, and it makes sense to me. It makes sense. That's what it is. It's like just like, look, I see Mark Sargent's in the chat. Mr. Sargent, what's up? So that guy, he was the first person I heard flat Earth from.
Yeah.
So I mean, and he's woke up a whole lot more people. But then from me bumping into his video, then I get amped. I start making videos, and then I end up affecting people. And they're like, "Oh man, you were the one who woke me up." I'm like, "Oh crap, that's crazy," because it was actually Mark Sargent. So it's like one thing affects another, affects another. It's like butterfly effect, man. This is kind of cool with this exponential growth of what's going on, man. So
Yeah.
it's definitely ramping up, and yeah, I think they're in damage control. That YouTube blackout, man. I don't know how much more crap they can throw at us for putting this stuff out because it's like, I mean, I already get messages every other day from somebody saying, "Hey, I had to resubscribe. I was unsubscribed from your channel, from ODD, from Jaren, from DITRH," and they're like, "Yo, I had to resubscribe." That's why I didn't get notifications because YouTube unsubscribed me. There was a time where I was checking Social Blade, and I saw the little line go. You check Social Blade every now. You know how that goes, right?
Yeah.
With the checking my live subscriber count.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was checking my live sub count, and the thing like did like this up and down real quick, and I like pulled the counter back, and it was like the third or fourth time I've been on there, so I wasn't all that familiar, but it was like on and off, like 30 people have been unsubscribed from my channel. Like for every two people that'll subscribe, two people will be unsubscribed, and that's what it was looking like at the time, man. So I already know I'm probably supposed to have a lot more subscribers, but YouTube keeps dropping people off. I'm not gonna cry about it, but I mean, we just got to keep moving, man.
And that's one of the things, like, yes, it's cool to complain because it does make, it does bring awareness to that,
Yeah,
especially when they're trying that stuff out.
yeah,
But it's like, it's like, I don't want to, not my channel, but just a small channel in general. That small channel might be the one that wakes up the next guy who has the PhD, who has,
yeah,
and it just, again, we're all pointed to these times. And when we all hear that one thing that clicks, that's all it takes. It takes one verse, one sentence that makes sense, that puts people into this, 24/7, where you're just like, I can't get enough of this stuff. I gotta, what he say? Hold on, let me look that up. And that's what I that's what all of it happened to me. It happened to me, it happened to D, it happened to everybody in this community. You get wrapped up into, oh my God, this information is, it makes you angry, it makes you happy, it makes you it makes you numb. There's
You
there's a
go
lot
through the
that comes.
stages. You go through the stages, like the stages of grief. And
Exactly.
that's why I did that. I did a video about that a long time ago. I kind of need to do an update on that one, man. But we all go through. Okay, first we're told, then we go through the anger phase. We go through the bargaining, go through the depression. I mean the disbelief, and then like acceptance, and then we just move on with our life, and we got to make a decision whether or not we're going to spread this or if we're going to keep it to ourselves. And thank goodness more people making a decision to speak out about it. So I think we're going to be like I'm thinking it's going to be common knowledge within 5 years, man. I've been saying that for a while, but so it's probably like 3 now. But
No, I
like I
I
always,
definitely think we're a ways away from it, but right, but I don't. Okay, so I'll put it like this: I don't think it's going to be accepted mainstream. But
oh
what
no,
will happen is that enough people will just okay. All right, I'm gonna give away a video that I'm literally gonna be doing, in the next few days, and that
mm-hmm.
has to do with. You guys still got to watch the video, but more or less, um, the First Man. Everyone know about this movie, The First Man.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, it
absolutely.
is tanking in the box office.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
that's what I'm talking
and
about.
the
I heard
funny
about
thing
that. Go
about
ahead, go ahead.
this is, yeah. So, and the funny thing about this is, you have a lot of these media outlets going, I can't understand why is this tanking? And it's like because people don't want to watch fake crap. Now, you want to watch Star Wars, it's fake. But when you're trying to put reality into something that most people are waking up to and know that it's fake, nobody's gonna go watch and support that crap. So we're hitting them where it hurts, and that's their dollars. Right,
Yeah,
the dollars are affected because I don't know how much money they spent on this, and it's not even close to hitting it. And they're hoping that it's going to have a long run. So what I'm imagining, this movie is going to be around in the movie theaters for the next 6 months, which is
right,
unheard of. Usually movies do not do that. It has big time actors. It has it's actually supposed to be a pretty decent movie if you're just taking it for the entertainment aspect,
right.
but it's not doing well in the box office, and they're trying to say it's because all these other movies it came out with. No, it's because people know
No,
the truth now, and they're not gonna go support that crap. So
ha,
that's just one
ha. That's
example.
what I'm talking about.
I'm
That's
still
what
gonna
I'm
make
talking
the
about.
video, so y'all go watch when I finally get it up.
Hey, I'm gonna watch the video, man. Do not worry. I'm gonna hit the thumbs up on that thing too. Tell you that. But yeah, man, that's good stuff. I did hear about that. How it's not doing all that well at the box office because, people are waking up and
Yeah,
figuring out that it's a film about a film,
yeah.
and we don't need to see freaking art imitating other art. That's played out, man. We're good on that. So no, no need to worry about that, man. I like it. I like it. Haha.
But the movie still, and I'll say this, and the on the other coin of it is that I've seen people. I don't, not that I personally know, but I know from like internet and whatever that we follow each other, something like that. There are Globers. I saw one individual who wrote this really. It was really nice, really poetic, describing how he had no idea that uh, this movie was going to affect him in this way, which now makes him have more interest in the space agencies and so. And that's the whole goal of that movie. It affected him for what exactly they wanted. There's a lot of people who are going to be affected in that way. That's why we have to expose these things, because it's trying to get those people to realize, like, no, listen, what you saw was, like Dee said, it was art, and it was and the plot of this movie is, instead of let's focus on him getting to the moon, let's focus on making this guy into a likable human being. So the focus
Yeah.
is on his family and his struggle, so that you can, as someone who sits back and is just vegging out on this material, what happens is now you're like, well, Neil's not such a bad guy. He was just a normal dude, when in reality this guy was lying to everybody. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The people who don't understand how big of a liar he was, how big of a liar Buzz Aldrin and the other guy was, is let's make him likable. Let's make him someone that people can look up to again. And that's the whole point of the movie at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
I read this guy's whole like, and I felt for the dude because it's like, man, they got you, bro. They got you. They did that movie did exactly what it was supposed to do. Plant that seed of making you want them to reach Mars somehow. Can't get to the moon, but somehow we're gonna get to Mars.
Yeah, what's up with that? What do you mean? What do you mean? We lost the technology to go back to the moon, but Mars, yeah, we can handle that.
Yeah.
Mars is like Mars is over 1,000,000 miles away, if I remember properly. I was looking up these links the other day. Look, Mars is supposed to be way further than the moon is. They can't get to the moon, but Mars, yeah, no problem. I'm calling BS on it.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, man, with that space movie, it's it's basically propaganda. It's space propaganda in the sense that it's kind of a recruitment thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just like they show these movies like Saving Private Ryan, Jarhead, you know, not Full Metal Jacket. That wasn't so much a recruiting movie, but these military movies to make soldiers look awesome and tough and all that, and then they're like, oh man, I want to go serve my country. you know, that basically just gets them hyped up to go join the service. Just the same as this movie is like space propaganda in that it's giving people the inspiration to want to go pursue the whole aspect of space exploration, or just getting back behind that whole idea, or trying to recruit more children into the idea that I want to grow up and be an astronaut.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to end up being an actor, kid, because
Yeah.
we're about to tear up this whole space thing real quick, real quick. We're bringing the curtain down on this thing, man. This show's coming to a close. I'm telling you, I can
Yeah.
feel it.
It's getting to the point where people have to realize is that, and obviously everyone in this chat is, knows the truth, right? Unless there's a troll out there or something. But
Yeah,
for
I
the most part, we're
think.
preaching to the choir, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
what what we can get away, what we can take away from this is that this is how much of an impact we have. We've all heard Mark Sargent talk about how there hasn't been a moon mission movie, and look, 3 years later, boom! What do? They make a moon mission, a moon
Mhm.
mission. I got moon moons on my head right now.
Oh yeah, moon, right?
But more or less that's what it is. Like we're causing them to react to the things we say. And some might say, well, we should keep it quiet. No, man, we can't do that. We got to keep talking. We got to keep telling people about this. We got to keep making people aware of this, because at the end of the day, there's going to be that one person who's going to wake up everybody.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm trying to see what that's like. I want to. I'm just glad to take part in this whole situation, man. Being part of this awakening. So
Well,
yeah,
yeah, man. A lot of it, you and I know, it's just common sense stuff. Common sense when you really step back and realize, like we just said, they can't get to the moon, but we're gonna get to the Mars. Can't get to a closer point, but we're gonna reach a further point. And if somebody just sits back and thinks about that, like we all like people who haven't heard of this information or haven't came across this and haven't thought about this, haven't pondered on this, have to realize like the reason why Mars is such a big play uh in today's space program is because it goes back to the technology. The technology has caught up with them. Cameras like the P900, the P1000, and I bet you there's other cameras out there that can zoom in just as good. What would happen if the pressure was like, hey, when you guys get there, can you get on the side that we can visually see you? Because that would be amazing. Well, you
yeah,
can't, we can't zoom in on Mars that well. So
right,
when we got to the point where we can zoom in on the moon. Well, instead of zooming in on the moon, they're like, well, I know that they can't make out the details if we go to that little red dot that's on the sky.
right,
That's why they're pushing it.
right,
So if somebody sits back and thinks about that for a second, like, wait a second, why the hell they can't get to Mars and they can get to, what? That
right.
doesn't make no sense. So it brings back down to the common sense level. If we use our common sense and we express our common sense to people, that one person's gonna wake up and be like, damn, And I keep saying it comes back to this technology because that's what it is. They have to go further away because we can zoom in where they're at right now. So
You gotta
the
keep,
future
they
of
gotta
the
keep moving
Mars
the goalposts.
program, yeah, if Mars somehow came closer and all of a sudden it's closer in the sky, they'll be like, we got to go to Jupiter. Uh,
Yeah.
it'll just be the same old ordeal,
Nope.
same old ordeal. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. People are waking up to their lives. Um, I would like to see more, but I come back to that whole aspect of, it's happening. It's. I mean, there's days where this community gets to me, right? So I take breaks.
Yeah.
Um, but and I'm gonna suggest that for everybody. Take a break from time to time. Like get back into some other hobby because don't let this become your life. Flat Earth is amazing, but don't let it become your life. Don't let it define who you are. Don't let people define who you are. I don't want to be known as Carlos the Flat Earther. I just want to be known as Carlos, the person. And oh yeah, he believes in the earth is flat. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
if people just relate me to this topic, all they see is this topic, and a lot of people still think this topic is stupid and ridiculous. They need to see the person first and then the topic, because once that happens, you can actually have conversations with them. But if you're this proud flat earther who's going around beating people over the head with them, that's all they're gonna see. They're not gonna want, oh, here he comes. Like, no. But if they see you as a person and you come in there and then you spit that knowledge from time to time, you know, listen, that's I think that's a lot of what's waking up. You
Yeah.
know, people
Yeah.
is not just repeating what someone else said because it's sounding smart, but being able to relate to that person and actually come down to their level so that they can understand what you're trying to say. And that's each and every one of us have to come and realize, like, uh, don't let this define you, but allow you as a person to find it.
Yeah.
And we all be in a good situation.
Man, yeah, yo, you killed it with that. That's I'm saying, and that's part of my approach to this whole thing. We're not just flat earthers. Okay, we're regular people that have regular things going on, and it's like people feel like we're just these oddballs that we have a strange set of beliefs, and that I mean, what they think that we're just the type to be like getting drunk and screaming at our dog in the kitchen and stuff. I mean, just for no. I mean, just crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I don't know exactly how weird or wild these folks think that we are, but that's part of my approach. I'm like, I if you follow my social media, I don't always talk about flat Earth. If you watch my videos, it's
Yeah.
not always flat Earth. I'm still in the gym. I'm still doing my van life thing. I just made a video on my other channel this morning. I'm like, hey guys, people been asking me about how I stay fresh. Well, I got a Planet Fitness membership. I know. I'm thinking about boycotting or changing it because I know it's not a planet. I know it's a plane. Okay, it's Planet
You
Fitness,
catch a lot
but
of
it's the
flack for
cheapest
that.
one. It is a plane. I know that, but I go to Planet Fitness because it's cheap and because there's a lot of locations. It's 24 hour. So I have those options. But I mean, we're like normal people
Yeah.
that know that the earth is flat.
Yeah.
We're not a bunch of weirdos. We're not just a bunch of strange characters. You can't just put us in a box. We come from all aspects, all walks of life, all ethnicities just the same, and we need representation in the community from every background just the same. I'm like, look, going to Korea, that was huge. There's people that there's one guy he translates my videos to Italian.
Wow, that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, Dino Tonelli. Shout out to him. We were back and forth, like early when I started making videos, and I was like, yeah, man, you can translate my videos to Italian, no problem. Um, I was just browsing some videos and I saw somebody translating my videos in Spanish. I was like, that's dope. I didn't even know, but I don't care. Okay, this isn't about me. This is about the message. This is about the
Yeah.
world population knowing that we've been deceived. Period. I don't care.
Yeah.
Put my stuff in German. Put it in Russian. I don't care. I don't. But it's necessary that we all understand this thing, because this is something that we can kind of unite under, and you know, bring down the great deception. Because, dude, if I could think of any strong delusion,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
would keep people in a position where they have, I mean, look, if I could think of a strong delusion, I can't really think of one stronger than the population of the world walking around and not even understanding where they are. Like, everybody's walking around thinking they're on a spinning ball.
Yeah.
You think that the earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour? That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That people argue that. Well, it's so big you can't feel it. No,
Mhm.
it actually works in reverse. And I was thinking about this while I was driving over to this location earlier. Check this out. So, if you get on a Ferris, not a Ferris wheel, on a merry-go-round, I mean, you've been on a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
You know how you can, yeah, exactly, like Gravitron. If that thing is like laying flat like this, okay, I gotta use my model that Mark Sargent gave me. So, look, if you got this thing and it's spinning, all right, if you're spinning in the middle, all right, the middle's not going to be as greatly affected as the outer ring of it, because if you're on that merry-go-round, you're more susceptible to be thrown off of that thing if you're closer to the outside. But if
Right.
you're in the middle, of that merry-go-round and it's spinning around, you can stand upright, you can just grab something and you're okay,
Yep.
because the spin isn't going to affect you as much. But because the earth is so big, and because it's spinning 1,000 miles per hour, if you're on the surface of this thing while it's spinning, you're absolutely going to feel it. But they say it's so big you wouldn't be able to feel it. No. The reason why you would be able to feel it on the surface is because it's so big.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? And it's like you just can't break that down to somebody in passing. It's like you got to use a visual aid or something. I promise, man, if I can find a playground around here, I'm gonna mess around and do a live stream or a video like, all right, look, here's my example. Brought a friend of mine. Here we are on a merry-go-round. You know what I'm saying? I'll stand in the middle like, look.
Go to carnivals and just all the flat earthers just go to carnivals, go to Gravitron and just start speaking that truth. Like,
yeah,
y'all feel that? Y'all sick? All right. How come we don't feel that now? And that was only probably going like 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and I wanted to talk to some people. I'm like, yo, you're on this merry-go-round, and look, you seen the videos where some knuckleheads, they'll take a motorcycle and they'll prop the tire up and they'll rev it up and they'll have that thing spinning really fast, the little merry-go-round, and then whoever's on it, they get flung off the thing. But if somebody's standing in the middle of that merry-go-round, they're okay. Yep. Or they're not as, you know what I'm saying, not as badly affected by the spin. But dude, Gravitron, people ought to know. People ought to know. People ought to know better.
Hey, you remember? Now this is a throwback. So I remember when I was little and we would go on the Gravitron, like you would see those dudes that had like the super strength and they can stand up and they would walk around like and then it was like, and then you would try it and it would be like boom, like dude, how do you not think about that's how that when I finally started thinking about it and I started relating to when I was a little kid trying to stand upright on the Gravitron, I was like, no way we're spinning, man. Come on, man. Like I couldn't even do that and the thing was barely going 20 miles an hour. But the G-forces that thing was pulling, it was like, there's no way, man. There's no way.
Heck no.
Once again.
I know, man. And that's what it is. Special thanks to Rebecca Silvius. Said some dough for your cookies. I like chocolate chip, macadamia nut. Those are my favorite.
I was at the store today and I didn't even need it. And I just saw it and I was like, yeah, I need to get some chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's always that one little evil Carlos on your shoulder whispering this stuff.
And then you got a daughter with you. He's like, I just get her one and me one. I'm doing a good thing.
So, all right. What's up, Johnny Afro? I see you. Yeah, my man Johnny Afro makes beats. He sent me his music on SoundCloud. But yeah. Yeah, man. So yeah, about go ahead and wrap this thing up. You know, we almost pushing 2 hours out here.
And it went by fast. I'll tell you that, man. It's always fun hanging out with D.
Yeah, man. Hey, appreciate it, brother, man. People enjoy the build here. Definitely appreciate the insight and the knowledge as far as the tech experience. You breaking down what you break down. The Photoshop aspect. That was, yeah. I gotta make a shorter video and just compress that and say, okay, this is Carlos breaking it down. That whole thing, man. So that was dope. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad we got to do it. I'm sorry if there was questions we missed. You know, as far as like just getting your channel up and running, you get yourself a USB microphone. Don't deal with anything, too complicated. A USB microphone. The key is to getting it as closest to your mouth as possible. It gets you that crispy radio. Hey, everybody, WQ, something like that. And
I'll be sure to try to remember that.
yeah. Getting a good microphone, we got webcams nowadays and this and that, and just, tell people what you have to say, man. You're not always going to be right, but at the end of the day, you're trying to get and the cool thing is, if you're able to admit when you're wrong, it's a big, people will respect that more than you just trying to hide behind lies. You could be like, I was way off on this thing, and people will be like, man, I could respect that, over um, just trying to hide behind, lie on top of a lie on top of a lie.
Yeah.
Guys, everybody has a voice in this community. You might not have the subscriber count, but that doesn't mean nothing. Um, Eventually someone's gonna come across, and it's that one person, like I keep saying, it's that one person who need to hear what you had to say. So
Mm-hmm.
just keep that in mind, and just just keep pushing along. I know it's harder some days than it is others, but
Yeah.
just be patient.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Sure appreciate you, bro. That was a good talk. That was a good talk, man.
Fun, yeah, it was definitely fun.
All right, man. Yo, I'll be in touch with you. Might need some tech support with the presentation. I'm working on something special. You remember I showed you that thing when me and you vegan got up. You know, we not gonna tell everybody about that just yet. Oh, people, I got something good for you. I'm gonna unleash the new flavor at the conference. So my plan is to do a presentation with the new data, being very cryptic on purpose. With the new data, I'm going to release that or at the presentation at the conference, and then I'll upload the videos from what's been captured. But there's been some behind the scenes stuff going on, so just so you know, be on the lookout for that. But yeah, thanks, man. I'll probably be in touch with you. Special shout out to Miss Tony, Mile High Scribs. Thank you very much. Flathead Politics, my man. Mr. Akil Wills, appreciate you. China Mrs. Jones, thanks as always. Rebecca Silvius, thank you very much. All right, you all. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you all have a great evening. Be sure to tune in for myself and Vegan Warrior on the weekly wrap up on Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, be good to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay flat. See you next time. Thank you.